So the new Tears of the Kingdom trailer just dropped.
Okay, let's go!
That's Black Zelda. They thought they could sneak that in for half a second, literally half a second. 3 minutes and 9 seconds, I wasn't missing that. She doesn't look that much like Zelda, but who is this Black Queen? Unironically, the thing that caught my eye the most in this trailer. I don't know what that says about me. And Zelda with short hair is hitting different. Wait. There are a ton of things in this trailer that suggest we are getting exactly the kind of Zelda game that I was hoping for, which prompted me to do this little thought experiment, if you will. What if we never get the traditional Zelda back? If you ask me, I'll be glad they never go back. First, let's answer what makes a Zelda game a Zelda game. Looking back strictly on 3D Zelda games, there's quite a laundry list of constants present in every mainline 3D Zelda before Breath of the Wild. A companion character, around 7 to 9 dungeons, the one exception being Majora's Mask. The Master Sword is usually acquired after dungeon number 3. There's always some sort of musical instrument involved. Ganondorf is in the game. Bombs, arrows, hookshots, and boomerangs are included, or at least a comparable replacement. The dungeons are usually based completely around the new items that you acquire in the dungeon. Heart pieces upgrade your health. Money and health can be found by cutting grass and pots. Potions and stray hearts are usually the only means of regaining health. You can get 4 bottles through the course of the game, and I think that's it. All the 3D games and majority of the 2D ones include most or all of these elements. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of things to keep the same. The Zelda series subscribed to this formula that limited creativity, yet they still found a way to make each game unique. However, with such a strict template to follow, keeping each new game fresh would eventually become a challenge, something that we were already beginning to see after the release of Skyward Sword, which is why I think it was so important that Breath of the Wild tore down so many of these long-standing traditions. In Breath of the Wild, there's no instruments, at least ones that players can use. They removed classic items like hook shots, no more burning the flower beds for money, no more bottles, no more predictable dungeon formatting, no more backseat gamers, and the Master Sword doesn't play a huge part in the story. They even stripped down the general story beats that every Zelda game follows. Most Zelda games go like this. Small town boy gets thrown into the big world as he builds up the courage to face the threats looming over the kingdom. In Breath of the Wild, there's none of that. Link is just that guy from the very beginning. While removing all these aspects made for a phenomenal game, there was too much missing for it to feel like a Zelda game. In terms of general gameplay loop, Breath of the Wild shares nothing in common with the other Zelda games. Link was there were a ton of Zelda reference, and the game was set in Hyrule, but it was so far removed from the other titles in the series that it felt like a different series entirely. But I think that was the whole point. What defined a Zelda game was too specific. While Breath of the Wild felt kind of incomplete, what Breath of the Wild did was expand the definition of a Zelda game, allowing them more creative freedom, setting them up with a new foundation for what defines Zelda, allowing them to reincorporate or completely remove classic Zelda features at their leisure. And it seems like the payoff to that period of change is what we'll be getting in Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild was more focused on exploration, introducing us to this new vast world, with barely anything to do in it, but still amazing nonetheless, especially considering it runs on a 2015 tablet. Like I said earlier, it felt kind of incomplete, like something was missing. And there's a chance that Tears of the Kingdom could be exactly what was missing from Breath of the Wild. Based on the trailers we've been getting for Tears of the Kingdom, there seems to be more of a focus on story. I know Breath of the Wild also seemed like it have a good story focus when you look at the trailers, but what makes me more hopeful this time around is Ganondorf. I have faith that Nintendo won't just make Ganondorf a force that exists in the background like what they did with Calamity Ganon. From what we get in the trailer, it seems like they're going to really go in on the narrative aspect, as Ganon, Zelda, and all the other side characters seem to have more presence. Because the story takes place in the present day and none of that past memory bullshit with Breath of the Wild, we should be getting Ganon's rise to power, and with that we'll get to see how the world from Breath of the Wild changes as a result, how the relationships Link built in the previous game will aid him, and most importantly, how he's going to fare against the absolute Chad that is Ganondorf. There also seems to be what I hope are dungeons. At least these parts of the trailer look more like the traditional dungeons we're used to. The biggest flaw Breath of the Wild had was its dungeons or lack of dungeons, because I hesitate to even call the Defined Beast dungeons. There's a chance this game will remedy that flaw and scratch the itch for the OG Zelda fans that was created by Breath of the Wild. There's a chance, if not all, most of Breath of the Wild's flaws will be fixed by Tears of the Kingdom, in classic sequel fashion, because that's usually how sequels work. Breath of the Wild was the experiment, but it feels like we're building up to what could become the new standard for Zelda games. As far as I'm concerned, Zelda doesn't need to return to its rigid roots. As long as this new game provides a stronger narrative and returns the big content-rich dungeons we had before, that's all we need on top of the foundation Breath of the Wild laid out. If we never get the Zelda we knew back, I don't think it's a huge loss. I believe this new change should be embraced, unless this just turns out to be wishful thinking, in which case, it's doomed. Can you blame me for wishful thinking though? Look at this trailer, man. Oh my god, every time I watch it, it just gets better. Let me know what you think of this take in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you're a real boss man / woman. Take it easy, and as usual, have a good one.